is kind of a what's new and a couple things that I want to focus on today with our intelligent document processing Oracle IDP solution. For those that may not be familiar with that term, IDP is kind of what the term that people are using for applications in our space. Because really, when you think about, we used to talk a lot about document management and content management, but we've evolved beyond that. It's really about how we, as the acronyms, as the title states, intelligently process documents. And one of the things we're going to focus on today is our new AI-based data extraction tools, because those really are what allow us to move to that truly intelligent document processing. So, quick agenda introductions. We've done that. We'll do a very brief of kind of who Square9 is for those that may not be familiar with us. Quick update on some changes to our licensing, which I think are very positive, and hopefully people are excited about it. And then we'll do introduction to our Inquire AI. We'll talk about some free demo links that allow resellers, customers, whoever, to drop a document in and test it out for themselves. Kind of like, show me, don't tell me, show me. And then any Q&A, assuming we have time and I don't talk too much here. So, because I think I share Damien's affinity for talking.
Is it affliction? We have an affliction. Like,
we have an affliction.
Exactly. Enthusiasm. I'll try and keep on the straight and narrow, mate.
Yeah, please do. Yeah, kick me under the table if I talk too long.
For sure.
So, quick introduction to Square9 for those that may not be familiar with us. Kind of the who we are, what we do. If I were to summarize it in a couple quick bullet points, we develop an IDP platform, as I mentioned, that does three things: eliminates manual processes, automates workflows, and one of the things, obviously, customers will care the most about, maximizes their ROI. Where we help organizations, it's a much longer list than this, but some of the key areas where we see organizations deploy our products and solutions to help is accounts payable automation, order processing automation, contract management, human resources, and forms processing. And one of the things that's going to be that's different now with leveraging of AI is that forms processing includes not only printed forms, but the ability to process and extract data from handwritten forms. So obviously, that for those that have been around this for a while, that is a big difference from kind of where we were in the past. And if you look at these different areas, kind of they have one thing in common, right? There's some sort of a document. It could be digitally born, it could be scanned, it could be received digitally, but there's a document that someone would currently be processing manually. There'll be some manual steps in it. People will be keying information from it, or sending it around via post or email, something like that. That's really where we're helping organizations. When we look at kind of where we are, one of the things that we also like to focus on is what our customers think about us. So when we look at some of the similar applications in our space, some you may be familiar with, some you may not. But right now, companies, are really focused on social proof. There's very social proof sites out there. You may be familiar with some of them, like G2, GetApp, Capterra, Press Radius, and there's a bunch of other ones. But what this does, these are areas where users of our application, or any application, it's not specific to IDP products, can go and give real-world results and social proof about the applications. And what you'll find is that when you see how we stack up against our competitors, we really are an industry-leading application. And that's it, not just because we paid somebody the most money to give a report. It's because customers are satisfied and see value in what we do. And even more important than the kind of where they, ease of setup or ease of use or whatever that may be, whether 1% or 2% makes a difference. It's really the ROI is one of the things that drives satisfaction, is that customers are very quickly seeing the return on that investment that they made. And it's not necessarily because our application is the least expensive, because we're competitively priced, no question about it. But it's because of the tools that we have and how quickly we can deploy and get customers using the application and seeing those results. So shifting from kind of the who we are, let's talk a little bit about what's new. So there's two things we're going to focus on today. We're going to talk about what's new with licensing, like I mentioned that earlier, and then what's new in the technology, and that's going to be our AI technology. So
I think as well, Mike, just to introduce this, I said at the beginning, we're going to be changing the cadence of these things, and we're definitely going to be doing a deeper dive on that technology. So this is already planned. We're already excited about the technology. So anyone who's on this, just know that we will be asking Mike to come back and do deeper dives into things. It's not that we're just being tight. There's only got 30 minutes. We are planning on coming back.
Yeah. The idea here is to just let you know what's going on, right? It's
Sure.
If we did deep dives and everything, you guys would do nothing but listen to me flap my gums more than I already have. So. So a couple of quick things, kind of what's new. One of the things that we've changed recently in our licensing is that we've eliminated daily page counts in our capture product. So the way our product had been licensed is if you were scanning and extracting data from a document using some of the traditional tools that we have, you'd be there'd be a daily page count that you'd have to keep into consideration when doing the licensing. That has been removed. So if you're doing any scanning from, and this is for our cloud product. So if you're scanning from a multifunction device, a scanner, importing, whatever that may be, and you're putting those documents in our cloud platform, there's no page count there. So scan as much as you want, put as much stuff in there from the capture side as you'd like.
Yeah, we saw this as a real positive thing as well, Mike, because one of the lovely things we've experienced at Square 9 is this kind of land and expand feel for it. Like you said, that faster ROI is bringing it in on our project, perhaps, but then grow it into the wider parts of the business, because it kind of sells itself once users are playing with it. So that thing of not having to necessarily focus on the processing volumes for that design side, we saw as a real positive. It was really well received from us.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it really does. It's a great point. The land and expand is a common approach we take because if you try to, as I don't know if the phrase boil the ocean, if you ever heard that one, right? If you try to do it all at once, it's gonna take a long time. So if you can do it one cup at a time, it's gonna be a lot quicker. And you'll see the quicker results. And again, this is included with our basic scanning and any advanced OCR based extraction. So that's one big change that we have. Another change that we'll be introducing is reintroducing is the option for concurrent licensing. So Square 9 had concurrent licensing in the past. We moved to a named users. We felt it better fit what people were doing. And I still think it does, because we reshaped all of our bundles, included a lot more capabilities and functionality, and allow people to kind of that focus on department thing. But what we've seen is there are organizations where there's people that come in, once every 3 weeks to quickly look at a document. And it posed a bit of a challenge in some situations. So we've decided to reintroduce concurrent as an option. So we offer both. So it's a one or the other, but it allows our partners to position the best configuration based on budgets, needs, requirements. We at Square 9, we always try to be flexible in how we approach the market. If we think there's a better way or something we should be offering, we're a very nimble organization. so we can respond pretty quickly to that. So we felt this was something that made sense to introduce, and you'll see that coming out in the next few months. So hopefully I didn't give too much of a preview there, Damien. I know we just talked about it recently, so
it's all good. It's all good. So we're looking and working with you guys on the pricing right now. And again, hopefully, Mike, you'll be back, and we'll be blowing louder trumpets when that's in place. Although I would say, if there's opportunities now, we could be starting to talk to you and prepare for that and so on. So it's quite nice to be getting that lead up to it. So yeah, we're excited about seeing that again, because it was always a big part of the portfolio for us. So we're excited to see it come back.
excellent. So the next thing I want to talk about, keep the ball rolling here, is introducing our Inquire AI. That's our generative AI capture technology that's really kind of turning what we can do on its head. Really things that we never imagined being able to do, we're able to do quite easily now. And the reason we're doing this is because data extraction has evolved, right? OCR did good things for its time, right? For the technology, it recognized text, but there were limitations. Flexible, it wasn't that flexible in layout. If you looked for areas of document, something had to be there. It wasn't able to figure out what it was looking at. It just knew something was there and it extracted it. Moving to AI capture, and we're talking about generative AI, so prompt-based AI extraction. So it's not machine learning where you're constantly sending documents through, having to retrain and train. It works kind of like if you think of other generative AI technologies, ChatGPT being one that I always reference. It's not ChatGPT that we're using, but from a reference point, right? If you want information, you ask it a question, what is whatever, and it comes back with an answer. That's what this does. A prompt would be something like, describing a job role. I'm an invoice extractor. Read this document, look for these valid data points, generate a summary, and give me those results. So it's a completely different way to look at it. And it's a marked shift from where we used to be with technology. What that looks like, right, is in our platform, you can capture documents from really any source that's out there. So whether that's importing from monitor folders, maybe scan it from a multifunction device, use single function scanners for maybe odd shaped documents or things, receipts, stuff like that. Maybe it's monitoring an incoming email address. So maybe have a invoices at or contracts at email address, or something you're uploading to a form. So there's lots of ways to capture that those documents. But what's really changed is here. Instead of using OCR, which if those are not familiar, and I apologize, I'm using an acronym that's you're not used to, it's optical character recognition. So it's a way for computers to look at text on a document and try to figure out what it is by kind of like screen scraping or looking at it. But instead of using that optical character recognition or OCR, or maybe reading barcodes or a combination thereof, we use natural language AI, so generative AI, really to be a digital knowledge worker. Look at the document, figure out not only the content, but the context of the document. Because in many cases, context isn't just as important as the content. So that means it can determine what type of document it is. This is an invoice, this is a purchase order, this is a HR document, this is a bill of lading, whatever it may be. So it has, kind of next level ability to interpret the information. Once we do that, we can then release it somewhere. And this is also a little different. We could probably do a whole other session on this, is the ability to not only release to our global search, which is our cloud-based content management platform, but also to other applications. So I can release it to, to platforms like SharePoint or OneDrive, if or Google Drive, if that's what clients want to use for their ultimate destination. We can also connect directly to host applications. So things like QuickBooks Online, which is a big one here in the States, and I think it has some presence over there in the UK and across Europe. and Dynamics Business Central, which is Microsoft's kind of mid-market ERP, as well as other applications and database platforms. So the idea is that this IDP platform that we talk about really allows you to automate a process and release to anywhere, whatever the destination that makes the most sense. I mentioned earlier that this is prompt-based. What that means is that instead of going in and designing what they call templates, where I kind of bring a document in and tell the software where to look, or maybe tell it where to look and keep training it to keep looking there. I use or the software uses a prompt to do that. And it does it using simple natural language. Talk to it like it is an employee. If you were to hire an employee, you explain to them their job in, whatever, 100 words or less, whatever it may be. That's what we're doing here. So it doesn't require a ton of training or product knowledge, and the accuracy is really unmatched. And that includes reading checkboxes and handwriting, obviously machine print, really anything. You can even do things like summarize or normalize text. So, send a document through and ask it what, send a contract through and ask it, 100 words or less, tell me what this contract is for. Or tell me any risks associated with this contract. So it's really a very different concept from what we used to have. And this is an example of a prompt that I use a lot in my demos. The stuff in the background you can ignore. That's just how we build a workflow. Mine's unnecessarily complex because I have it releasing to 3 different demo instances of the software and importing from 3 different destinations. But this is the part I want to focus on, right? This is the quote unquote programming, right? This is what I've told the software. You're an invoice data extractor. Your job is to read incoming invoices and read the following data off of it. And there's more points that we're collecting. But this is the idea that this is how I program it. I tell it what to do. It works like a digital knowledge worker. It extracts the information with unmatched accuracy.
I will say, Mike, when you said ignore stuff in the background, for anyone who is familiar with Square 9, all great bits about global capture and the ability to visualize those workflows and everything, that stuff's all still there, by the way.
Yeah.
So,
Good point. I don't need to ignore like it doesn't exist. I don't anybody who's not technical get like, oh, what's that? Do I need to know all that? So, but yes, great point.
In the room, you still got the it's still cool. So
for all us propeller heads or wannabe propeller heads like me, then that's all that cool stuff. Those cool bits, as Damien likes to say, are still there.
Yes, indeed.
So some real world applications for this. I mentioned earlier kind of where we impact customers, and kind of taking a deeper look at that, right? Accounts payable, right? So accounts payable invoices with Inquire AI. This is a document that if you told me a year ago that you wanted to automate extraction from, I would say that's, great, hire somebody. In today's world, right, we're able to capture that purchase order number, even though it's handwritten on the document. We're able to grab that total amount, which you can barely read off of the document, and grab other pieces of information like the invoice numbers you can see, document date. So all that stuff is able to be extracted from the document with that simple prompt. And this is the prompt that you saw is what was used to extract the data from this document. Looking at contracts are obviously a very different animal than an invoice, because even though invoices all kind of look different, there's some standard data points on it. Contracts not so much, right? Contract is a free-flowing document. And you may even have old contracts that somebody typed up with a typewriter back in the 80s, like you see here. What we're able to do with Inquire AI is read the document, have the software read the document, and interpret the information. So as an example, something like having it generate a summary. Right? Quickly tell me what this contract is about. As I mentioned, it could also be something like, tell me what risks are associated with this contract. It can really be anything that you want. The other thing I'll point out is that I mentioned that, it's natural language, which means when it sees something like June 5, 1981, you can tell the software, hey, I don't know what to do with those types of dates in my process, so make it 6/5/1981, or in your case, right, flip that around for European date formatting.
This is, I think it's a thing that, unless you've been involved in document processing and certainly data extraction for any period of time, the fascination, or as propeller heads, to use your phrase, with dealing with dates. And we deal a fair amount. I think some of our Nordic colleagues are on here, and anyone who's dealt with anyone from Norway knows that I swear they've got whole teams of people just trying to work out how to make the worst date format. So it's actually a real thing, and this is suddenly remove the issue almost. In fact, it's almost quite good at finding them in sentences and things like that, where it's broken out and perceiving stuff. So it is a really big difference. It is a propeller head level thing, but it's important. It's a big
it's stuff that I thought was pretty neat and kind of caught my eye early on.
Another
example would be things that may come in a different language. In this case, this is a contract in French. I don't speak French, but I asked the software, generate a summary, and it's able to do that. Now, I'm not saying this is translation software. That's not really what the idea is, but it can take content from the document, understand what it is, and then give it back to you in a different language. So maybe you're getting invoices from various languages, as an example. There's lots of areas where this can help out. The last one I'll point out is forms processing. So when we look at processing a handwritten form, again, if you had asked me a year ago, how do I do this? I would say build a nice little web form and have somebody fill it out. You might say, hey, that's more than we want to attack at this point. So I'd say hire somebody. Now, in the scenario is just have the software look at the document, read the handwriting. It can determine taxpayer 1 versus taxpayer 2. Phone numbers, again, normalizing it to put the little dashes in it for the kind of US phone number formatting. So lots of cool things that you can do. Now, obviously, those are screenshots. So people want to say, hey, does this really work? Let me see. For that, what we've done is we've put together these little demo links. So there's 4 links that I'll work with Damien and the rest of the team at Selectec to put up there. But these links allow you to try out the software. All you need to do is click on the link. And I'll click on this one here. And it's going to open up over here.
This is where you get to panic and work out how Google Docs works, and fair play.
Yep, sorry, that's me. Right, so there's my form. This is what you'd see when you launch that up. And what you can do is just go ahead and drag and drop a file into there, or browse out and attach one. Once you attach a document to it, all you need to do, is I lost my
Did we see
screen,
that?
didn't I? Sorry about that.
That's all right.
I'll try that again. And there we go. I can take my document, right? I can drag and drop it on here, add my email address, hit submit. What the application will do is email you back the results with the extracted data. This is an example of a purchase order or sales order. So it's going to go ahead and send me back the results from that document. Just to give you kind of an idea what that looks like. This is what you'll see in the email that you'll get back. This is the extracted data, order number, order date, ship to. Look, we even do the European formatting there. Ship to, bill to. It includes the line items. If we look at the document that I sent through, this is probably going to open up in a different screen. Nope, there it is. This is the document that I sent through. All right. That's my chicken scratch handwriting. I downloaded this from the web, some random site, filled it out by hand, took a snapshot. This is the background of my desk, emailed it into myself, and sent it through for processing. So again, if this was something you asked me to do a year or two ago, it wouldn't be possible. He's not with any sense of accuracy. Now, as you can see, we're getting this with 100% accuracy. Now, we're always going to get 100%. I don't want to say that. I know it's being recorded, but in this case, we did get everything correct. I have 1 minute left, so I'm gonna stop flapping my gums at this point, and open it up for any Q&A that we may have.
Okay. All right. That was great timing. Have you got like some kind of clock on the desk or something? Because that's not something me or you are any good at, is the whole.
Yes, I do. My phone is next to me, and I've hit it like every minute or so to look at it and check my timing.
That was really great. I think you're right there, Mike. A big part of the exciting piece is there are things there, as you say, for anyone that's been involved in data extraction. We would have smiled and waved and thanks for the opportunity and said, hey, let maybe come back when you've got something real world. And it is a very significant change to how you review those awkward and nasty projects, really. It's something, so that's really I'm excited for the next round. We'll dive on. In terms of those links,